Wanted to start off with a bit about why I do what I do. Those are my girls. 8 years ago, Neve was born. Neve is severely disabled, so I stopped working for the company that I was working for and I set up on my own. One of my big bugbears is people getting ripped off, and there's an awful lot of that in my industry. So it's very much about working with the individual company to meet their needs, to find the best solution, and then look after them. We're not one of these companies that sign someone up and you don't see them till they re-sign. We're very much like holding the hands so they get the best out of the systems. And yeah, I love Star Wars. So I just thought I'd start off a few of our clients on there and painting a picture. A lot of our clients are operating heavy goods vehicles, but not exclusively. You know, we deal with vans, we deal with cars. If it's got wheels and it's in a business, pretty much we can help. The heavy goods vehicles is what I'm going to focus on today because we really can make a massive difference to their operations and give them huge benefits and savings. So whether it's HGVs, vans, I think over time, FORS is the Fleet Operators Recognition Scheme. It's a voluntary standard that heavy goods operators work to. You might see the stickers on the back of wagons when you're stuck behind them. I think over time that is going to become not just a voluntary thing. I think it's going to be pretty much they have to meet these standards. These are the sorts of things that we can put in for people. We've got the multi-camera kit there. Does nice things like when they put the left indicator on, it comes, that blind side comes up in the monitor so it stops them mowing down cyclists. Reversing cameras, alarms, pretty much if it's technology for vehicles, for fleets, we can help. Again, different for your Arctics because you've got separate trailers, so we've got to put a little bit of special kit in there so that whichever trailer goes onto whichever tractor unit, it all works fine. And vans again, just kind of not dumbed down, but they don't need quite as much. But again, very important what we can do on there. A massive change that Nicola knows all about is tachographs. In the 70s, HGVs had to have tachographs so that they could control the hours that the drivers were doing, so they were falling asleep at the wheel, mowing people down. That's hugely reduced, and I think again in time that is going to filter through to your vans as well, and maybe even any vehicle on business use. It's had a massive positive effect in the heavy goods market, so I don't see why it wouldn't elsewhere. In May, the old form of tachographs, which is analogue, is changing to digital. So if companies haven't got those in already, they've got until May to do it. They've got to do that. And that gives us a way that we can really help save them time. I was doing some sums for a presentation I've got tomorrow, and a fleet of 20 vehicles, the time it takes them to manually get that information, which they have to, down every month, by putting our software in, which will automate that, it'll put 8 hours a month back for the transport manager. Transport managers are massively busy. Giving them a full day's work back into their company to do something more productive, that's huge. Obviously, if they're running 40 vehicles, that's 2 days we're giving them back. It allows them to see when the driver needs his brakes and how they're running to see if they can get that extra job. It gives them that information in real time. They can also see historical, so what the DVSA, which are the organisation that monitor it, they're looking for infringements. They're looking for people who aren't sticking to their hours, and they come down really, really heavily on them. So it's really, really important for these guys to be on top of that. We'll download that information automatically from our tracking and put it into their tracking software. They can automatically email that. We just configure it on a schedule. Most of them get these analysed by external companies. So we're taking all of that away from them. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to be going around every vehicle every month. They don't have to have a queue of drivers lined up every Friday for half an hour to hand their cards in. It's just all gone. So what people need to be asking their telematics providers when they're up for renewal, do they integrate with tachographs, and can they remotely download the DDD files? That'll mean nothing to you, it'll mean something very, very significant to fleet operators. If their telematics provider can't do that, then really they need to be talking to us. As I say, FORS is coming. The other things that are in FORS, and I've got some booklets done if anyone wants to take any of those afterwards, they've got to plan the routes. Our software will do that, it'll optimise them, it'll plan them by the height, the weight of the vehicle, it will show any time that they deviate from those routes, it'll alert them in real time, so it really ticks many, many boxes, and it's just standard stuff in our software. They're not having to get an upgrade for this or pay extra, it's all in there. Fuel management, we'll read all the fuel from there, we'll be able to see whenever they're fueled up, we'll be able to see if any fuel is taken out, which is rife in the HGV world, and it'll help them monitor their miles per gallon, their fuel usage, reduce their carbon emissions, all of which are key points on the FORS accreditations. These are some customers, all local, that I think we could really, really help. You know, with a combination of the cameras that we do and the tracking, we can make a massive, massive difference to these guys. Some of them I'm talking to, some of them I've talked to in the past or looked after in the past, in my previous life, but I'd love to have a chat with these guys again.
If I come to you now on tracking and cameras, do I have to pay twice?
Very much depends. We do a connected dash cam. The Oak Tyres who were on there, that's what they have. They've got 70 odd of them with us. And the dash cam is also their tracker. So they use different software suites, but they're just using one hardware option. So it just very much depends. It depends what that client wants. For example, the multicam stuff, that will track, but it's not going to give things like the tachograph. It's not going to go into the vehicle engine management system. So yeah, very much depends on the client, but we're just completely transparent about it. You know, if you go with this, you don't get that. If you go with these, you get this instead, which is going to give you the best return.
Dan, can you tell us a nice success story where someone's phoned you and said, thank God we had your equipment on our vehicles?
Yeah. The cameras is the big one. The cameras is the big one. You know, when we've got the connected cameras in, the vehicles can be operating the other end of the country. But, you know, Alfie will know when there's an accident, the speed at which that information gets to the insurer can massively affect the cost of the claim. If they don't have that information and the third-party insurer get on it, they're in control of the hire vehicle. All of a sudden there was 4 people in that vehicle when we know there was 1. And the cost just ramps up. Yeah, Oak Tyres have had a few recently where, you know, by getting that footage quickly, they've either batted the claim away, where it would have gone 50-50 and you know, affected their insurance, or they've just held their hands up, but they've taken control of the claim themselves.
Jan, is most of your stuff subscription based, or is it more of a case of you supply the hardware, or is it a mixture of both?
A mixture of both. You know, and we work very closely with Liam. You know, so if people want to fund the hardware, you know, they can do the finance there. But yeah, if there's a SIM card in it or there's software, yeah, there's a subscription. But what we don't like long subscriptions. Our tracking is just on a rolling 30 days. If we're not doing the business, they've got every right to kick us out. We're not into tying them up in long, complicated T's and C's, you know, 0.4, 0.2, 0.1, you can't do that. You know, we're pretty laid back about it.
Who's your favourite Star Wars character?
Boba Fett.